How's it going, everyone? It is Wednesday? Is it? What? It is Wednesday. Wow. Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. And this is the video for today. So let's go over the picks from yesterday's video. I had two picks. The first was, or actually I just had one pick. The other pick I did not give. We had GE as a long. And I like GE for a couple of reasons. We had a very orderly price action on this chart, strong bullish trend, nice 45-degree angle, and it had earnings, held all the gains, and then it started to break out to the upside. So I like GE, and we took a deep in the money call out 2 months. So nothing major happening right now. We're gonna evaluate this stock on really a per market basis and kind of a per week basis. What I've noticed with a lot of longer term swings in past stocks is that usually moves tend to happen in 5 to 10 days, so we can evaluate the price action on that time. So nothing much we have to do with GE right now. That is just the pick for today. Let's take a look at the market on a longer term basis. So I've got a couple of stuff over here, and let me just hide the series. Let me just do the series right now. So my long-term fundamental bias on the market is still a 1. All the news that came out today didn't really sway me one way or another. The main concern, again, was just the slower economy from the GDP. If we have higher interest rates, the rhetoric is changing a little bit to when the Fed's going to cut rates to, did the Fed hold rates too high? Did they hold it too high for too long? The next FOMC meeting happening in June, the market is pricing in about a 90% chance of rate pause, and I think they're pricing in the first rate cut to really happen in September. And they're down on the rate cut optimism earlier in the year, which was somewhere between 3 to 4 rate cuts, and now they're pricing in between 2, potentially even 1 rate cut. So that's sort of still the main driving story in the market, and we just want to see some good economic signs. So I'm watching the next GDP announcement at the end of the month pretty closely, the next ISM services at the beginning of June very, very closely, to just get a sense of, okay, are these weaker numbers the start of something new, or are they just a one-off? So we're being cautious, but we don't change our fundamental bias, again, too much. On the course of every month, we have slight evaluations. So we got some new information this month. We can see how that changes the picture, and we're going to wait for the new information at the beginning of June to see what has changed and how we can contextualize the new information that we received in April. Long-term D1 technical bias. I am a 1 bullish right now, and if this move was far stronger, I would be a 2 bullish. But this move has been pretty weak. It's been pretty patchy. We had a lot of news to digest, but this wasn't the price action that I wanted to see in the market. So we are still bullish because we do respect that a lot of these long-term buyers here are still strong. We had the pullback, but this is our chance to really make sure that we can get through this all-time high. And as of right now, I'm not super convinced that we'll get to the all-time high. I think it's more likely we have a double top, or maybe we test the level. But we're going to let the price action, I think, this week and the week after really decide that. We'll see if buyers really start to step in around this level and get convinced, but I think there has to be some sort of catalyst for that to happen. But we are a 1 on a longer term technical basis. On a shorter term technical basis, I'm also still a 1. I like this move up above the 50 SMA. I like how we sort of blew through it and we managed to get some distance from it. That's how I like to break these SMAs. We blow through them and we get some separation. We never really test them. At the same time, though, the move was a pretty light volume. Let's look at the M15 chart here. So we broke this move here, pretty light volume the entire time. And not the strongest price action. either. We'd have this big gap up and we'd adjust the gains and maybe we get some lift off later in the day, but this is not typically the type of price action we'd like to see on the move. We'd like to see a much stronger one. So we're still bullish, but we're cautiously bullish. Like I said earlier in the week, I'm waiting for that retest of the SMA. If we hold this level and start to inch up higher, that tells us that we had a very bullish scenario because buyers stepped in before we reached the SMA, which told us that they were far more eager than we would originally anticipate. So we're watching for this pullback here. We'll see if we can get some higher highs going on. As of right now, we have a pretty bullish move in the intraday market. And short term, I am mildly bullish. I'm just being pretty cautious. I don't want to overload on any longs or shorts. I'm staying mostly in cash, and I want to be pretty flexible because this move doesn't give me a lot of confidence to take a ton of very long-term swings. And the low volume choppy price action doesn't give me a lot of confidence that we're going to surge higher. I like to find that area close to support before we get that surge higher. Okay, let's look at the intraday chart on SPY. So we had this gap down and we rallied up and we filled this gap pretty much in the first hour, which I really like. I really like the strong move into the gap here. You can see that we hit the prior day low, pull back a little bit, and then buyer stepped in immediately. Hit the gap, pull back a little bit, and then buyer stepped in immediately. So this is what would tell us that buyers are pretty strong. Now, we had this bull cycle produce, and we had a pretty nice bearish divergence for the first 40-45 minutes. We held pretty much all these gains until 10:55. So, I like this bullish move. This retracement here is a little bit more worrying because this is a pretty organized move down. And we gave away these gains pretty quickly. You can see here how buyers stepped in pretty early. They stepped in after 2 or 3 candles and we got the next leg higher. When they don't step in, it means they're not as eager at this point. So it tells me that they don't have as much control as they did in the first hour and a half of this move. Now we could still get some support, but I'm going to be looking for that double top lower high at this point. I think we still get another leg up higher. But earlier in the day, I'm a 2 bullish. Right now, maybe a little bit more of a 1 bullish. I want to see my relatively strong stocks pulled up during this pullback. If we find support, we can get a really nice move. I think today is going to be an excellent opportunity to get in some of these parabolic pullback stocks, meaning stocks that have made a giant move up. They pulled back somewhere around to VWAP. You get that LRSI alert, and then they move up higher. So if I were to give an example of a nice pick like that, let's look at something like Toast. So Toast is a nice breakout, or even something like KD. KD is holding up pretty well. ENET is holding up pretty well. Netflix is holding up decently. So there's these stocks that have a big move up earlier in the day, and then they come back, pull back a little bit, and then you get the LRSI alert, and then you can enter that sort of stock. So that's what's kind of happening in the market right here. We might be getting a nice entry point for some longs. But my current bias is a 1 at this moment because this pullback is a little bit deeper, a little bit more organized than I would have liked. On a market component basis, I saw mega cap tech was a little bit weaker today, a little more neutral. Let's put up the mega cap tech on the side. You can see here, not a lot of stocks that are stronger than SPY. A lot of mega cap tech is dragging it down. If we look at other things, kind of in the market strength category, you can see that most things tend to be weaker than SPY. QQQ a little bit weaker. Semis a little bit weak today. Tech a little bit stronger today. Comms are looking pretty nice, but not a ton of stuff that's stronger than SPY. TLT and IWM are also on the weaker side. So not a lot of stuff happening on a market strength or a market breadth basis. If we look at our flight to safety assets, utilities is up. Gold has been kind of weird, but VIX is low, which is nice. It tells us that there's not something very, very high going on over here. And utilities is also pretty up, so it tells us that there's some money kind of flowing into that area. Contextually, in the D1 basis, we're pretty far extended from the 8 EMA, so we might have some time to pull back on the 8 EMA here, just kind of find some support and let it catch up to it a little bit. So that's why I like this gap down. I'm fine with the gap down, and I like this strong response from buyers. So what can we really look for? What can we expect today? Well, given what's happening on the D1 chart here, I'm not going to take some swing longs right away. I like to see a close above the prior day high. That gets me in some positions to take some swing longs, and I'll keep it pretty short term, perhaps a CDS, or either very liberal or pretty patient, where you take something much farther out and you can withstand some of these choppier moves. So right now I'm leaning towards a couple things. There's some nice earning time spreads coming up today, and I have a couple of nice picks. So let's go over the nice picks first, and then I'm going to go over the earnings time spreads. So a couple of stocks that I like today. Let's start with their D1 charts here. And that is a very nice post-earnings breakout, filled in the gap over here, broke through this downward sloping trend line if we were to draw it right here. If I look at just kind of get a sense of the volume going on here, this is a nice way that I draw my horizontal lines, so there's certainly quite a bit of volume at this level. Around here, there's some volume at the close. This is a pretty high volume candle around here, so that might be causing a little bit of ruckus. And there is some volume, a little bit of volume here, but a lot of the volume is coming over here, so that's probably where some of this liquidity started to come in from. But really the main thing I want to see is there any sort of support or resistance that could come in the way of this trade? So I see something kind of around 300. So that's kind of the main thing I see. Maybe a couple of lines around here. That could be perhaps a minor stopping point. But certainly there's a lot of chopping around that level, so I don't think that's very strong. Just a minor things. These are things where I would expect maybe a pause if the volume is low or weak. But if you have a very high volume candle like something in earnings, it will just chew through all the supply and demand at these levels. So I like Annette. And let's look at the M5 chart here, and we can see that comparison. So market is selling off. Annette has been compressing near the high of the day. A bit of a double top, but has held the gains really well. So this is probably going to be my pick of the day. Let's check out the other ones. KD has been looking pretty good. Gapped up and went, compressed, moved up higher, compressed. Didn't rally in the last stage of the market, but also didn't rally. Also didn't drop down here, which tells us that there is a strong bid. So this could be pretty nice on a compression break. Just keep it pretty quick. As soon as the move stalls, I would take some gains because it's made a really big move pretty fast, and it's going to be a decent amount of profit taken to offset any trend. UNP was looking good. Let's flip back to the D1 here. Nice breakout. Meta is pretty nice into the gap. Has some room. I have this downward sloping trend line that I think is still going to be valid, so I'm watching out for that. I am at Netflix as a long right now. I like how it broke through, filled its gap today. Maybe there's some levels here, but pretty much at about break even right now. Teva is a very nice breakout. Let's look at this M5. Nice long red candle, kind of grinding up here, pulling back a little bit. So if we pull up our L RSI, you can see how it's come back down, and I have an L RSI alert. So when we get this stock triggered, we could probably get a nice move in Teva. Toast is another very nice one as well. Post earnings breakout through all of these levels. A lot of volume coming into the stock. The nature of it could change. I also like how early in the morning it didn't jump up immediately. It kind of tested the bid a little bit, and then we got the breakout here at 1010. So that was kind of the area to take it. Now it's pulling back a little bit. If the market looks good and the stock looks good, then you could have added on this next leg up higher. AVGO, you got to be careful with AVGO. So nice move up higher today, certainly hitting a downward sloping trend line that I cannot draw. There's one coming into play here, and you could even draw one maybe here, but certainly a bearish channel coming into play on this stock. And even, I mean, there's a very minor term one you could draw even here, right? That's coming into play that it probably hit. So looked very nice earlier in the day, pull back a little bit. So again, you said an LRSI alert. This is what type of the parabolic pullback. Stock goes absolutely parabolic in the morning, pulls back over here, finds some support at perhaps the prior day low or the prior high of the day. We get this LRSI alert, and then we kind of get this next leg higher. So that's kind of what I'm talking about, what may set up here in the stock. Let's look at VST. Here's another nice one, post earnings breakout. Really nice daily chart, strong move up higher, but kind of got sucked back down with the market. Not as crazy about it right now. I like to have seen it compress and hold that level. You can see some stocks are starting to break out. Lift pretty choppy after this initial move, not crazy about it. Shop is something I saw on the bearish side. Looks pretty good bearish wise, but couldn't quite make a new low of the day. We look at a couple of bearish picks here. FTNT was nice, came back, tested VWAP. It's at this low of the day, so I'd like to see it get back below that level and have it confirm this low on May 7th. Dash is a pretty decent short. If the market starts to topple over, we have some nice shorts. I like T-Doc as well. Broke out of compression today, moved down. It's just hugging the low of the day. So I think on a market double top, this stock is going to crack down. And Upwork. Upwork is probably my favorite short. I saw this earlier in the day. I really liked it, how it had a nice head of steam, filled in this gap over here, and compressed the low of the day when the market came back to the retest. And when it made this new low of the day at 10:45, it just started to take off. And yep, you can see pretty much as soon as the market started to crumple, this stock took off. So really, really weak stock. Didn't get in it because I was a little bit too bullish, but this is probably the ideal sort of short that you want to get. So my pick of the day is going to be a net long. If we hold this level, we have a nice 1OP bullish cross over here, and we hold VWAP. So let me say that again. First, market has to be above VWAP. We get that 1OP bull cross. Second, stock making new high of the day has to be relatively strong, closing above the 8 EMA. That's when I get in on a net, and that would be my day trading long pick of the day. Now, if the market has a double top lower high, let's look at a couple of other nice charts. I think with Upwork, it's sort of already made its move, so wait for another pullback or a compression. Starting to get some distance over here. So Upwork could be a pretty nice short, but it's hard to give this short recommendation because we have to see the scenario that plays out at this point. If we get a higher low, lower high, double top, and then we start to make a move higher, start to make a move lower, if we get a 1OP bear cross coming into play, then I would lead into maybe a day trading short. I like Upwork and I like T-Doc for those scenarios. Let's look at some earnings time spreads. So these have been pretty nice, given that the market has not been great for some directional trades. First one I like a lot is Hood. So the reason I like Hood is, first, how I have this sorted is by option liquidity. So I like having high option liquidity, so there's tighter bid-ask spreads. I can quickly and more easily get out of the trades the next morning after earnings. So you can see that average move is maybe about half of the expected move, which is really nice. Rarely exceeds earnings the past couple of times, and a really high difference. So when the exceeds is, so this is kind of my risk, this is my reward, right? A pretty low risk, pretty high reward. So I like the Hood earnings time spread. The other one that I like a lot is also Sedge. So Sedge, you can see that it's also about a half-half. Let's open up the Sedge chart. A lot of solar earnings coming into play here. Sedge is a little bit choppier. in the recent months. But it's pricing in a 20% move in the stock. So that is about a $10 move either way. And the average move on Sedge is more like a $5.70 move. So as long as it's somewhere in that range here, I should be able to profit. And if it goes anywhere $10, like opens here or opens here, then I'll take the loss. But like I said, you can see really big difference and still really low reward. So let's add my picks for today. So I'm going to give the put time spread. That's going to be my first pick. Let's add that for YouTube picks. And then the ANET day trade long on the conditions that I just mentioned before. Add that to our picks. And yeah, we'll keep an eye on the short side here. I think I had mentioned, let's see my tags again on the short side. If that plays out, I think I said I liked T-Doc. Yeah, I did like T-Doc over here. Check the other ones. Yeah, T-Doc, upward with the bullish and golf, so that's where you get out of the trade. Yeah, I'd say I would go with T-Doc on the bear side here. But be careful, make sure with T-Doc you don't front run this. This is tugging the low of the day. We've got to have a double top and get that low of the day compression break. And then we are good to go on a stock like T-Doc. Okay, those are your picks for today. So let's just go look at our future picks once again. We have a GE long. I call that a long, day trading long if that sets up, a day trading short if that sets up, and then a neutral earnings time spread on hood. And I would say just look at we're selling we'll sell the $18 calls on May 10th, and then we buy the $18 calls on the next day. Yeah, so you're getting about a 20-cent debit on hood. So yeah, pretty nice stock. Pretty I think nice setup here. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we will take a look at how these did in tomorrow's video.